Revolution Radio proudly presents, live from the heart of the Blue Ridge, Roanoke, Virginia. It's the justBernard Show with host Bernard Alvarez. Join Bernard as he shares topics that reveal the real matrix and empower your human experience, including world liberty, the esoteric, suppressed technologies, spiritual ascension, and human consciousness. Humanity has awakened, and our time has come to realize our full potential. And now, live from the Star City, your host, Bernard Alvarez.
2016 is here. It is upon us. The information and movement to awaken humanity to truth of who we are and where we come from is increasing on an unprecedented level. Within this awareness is the extraterrestrial phenomenon. There are many organizations and groups that have been created from a grassroots level to spearhead the truth movement to fully have the world disclose this very important information. But why is it important? Why does the truth of extraterrestrial presence have to do with our modern day life? And what would happen if we disclose this awareness? Joining us live today, we have Gaur, who is the founding member of Portal to Ascension. I'm sure many of you know what that is. It's one of the largest Ascension groups on Facebook. And of course, Contactee and speaker and author Miriam Delicado. Welcome to the show, both of you, Neil and Miriam. Hi.
Hello, and thank you for having us today on this really fantastic show about disclosure. I'm excited to get going.
Yes, great.
Yes. Hi, Bernard. Hi, Miriam.
And hello, Neil. Thank you for joining us today, both of you. I really appreciate it. And so let me start, Miriam. You were one of the few people who disclosed what happened to her experience, your experience with extraterrestrials, and you're literally one of the few people that I believe and take every word with the integrity that's backed by it. Your work in the movement has been amazing, what you've been doing on a global level. So I was wondering if you could share a little bit about not only your experience, but what moved you to want to help bring the truth of this to the world.
Well, I came forward out into the public regarding my contact that I had in 1988. I had an experience where I was taken from the side of a road, a highway here in Canada, and taken on board a UFO for 3 hours with tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed extraterrestrials. And it took me a very long time to sort of prepare my own self in many ways, and for the time to be right to come forward to the public. I mean, back in 1988, the time was not right. People were still in a lot of fear. They were not open spiritually. There was no base of being able to come forward. And so it took me until 2003 to really start the process of the work that I'm doing now, of coming forward and sharing my experiences with people. And I have to say that what drives me every day, what is my driving force, is how much truth I've seen from this experience. That is the number one driving force through all obstacles, through all of the challenges that come along this path, the criticisms, the jokes, I mean, it's quite difficult, and that is a form of disclosure in itself. Absolutely. And it's very important that this subject matter is disclosed and continues to be disclosed to the public, because it is very accurate information if we can get to it. Meaning, as you said, I'm very I'm very honored that you trust and feel that my experiences have value, because I've always tried to maintain a very rational and very somewhat calm in most ways approach and logical approach to this subject for myself, and then present it to people. And in the form of disclosure, we have to have disclosure. It's not a matter of if, it's not a matter of when, it's a matter of why is it not happening now? And I think that that's the real question. And that's what we need to talk about when we talk about disclosure, because the truth does make a difference. The truth does change lives. It changes perceptions. It changes realities. It changes understanding of everything, because then all of a sudden there's the understanding that we're connected and so on and so forth. So it's a very big topic, and I
Yeah.
think I would like to thank you, Bernard and Treva, and for doing this work, and also Neil, because we're all pioneers, I think.
Yeah.
And although people have been working on this since the 50s, coming forward, we are all pioneers. Even the people coming out now are pioneers for the next phase. So I think that it's important we all recognize that. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Miriam. Neil, I have to say that I love how we both basically got involved in this work pretty much around the same time. For myself, it's about 2006. I'm not sure when
Right.
Portal to Ascension got formed, but it's funny how your work, especially Portal to Ascension, took off so quickly the way the GIC did at the time, and it just filled this need for people to come together and share information. And I just wanted to commend you for the work that you've done and how it's grown. And I'm wondering, why do you feel now, so many years later, has this still remained so important to you, and why is it still so important to us here on the planet?
Right. And I feel it's not just still important, it's exponentially becoming more and more important. That actually I started the Facebook group in 2006, and the Facebook group was called 2012 Consciousness, Mind, Evolution, and Presence.
Mhm.
I've been researching for around 4 years now on all this information, started with the ancient Sumerians and Anunnaki, and I really didn't know too much about 2012, but I had a dream to create this group, and all these people would join in. So I created this group in 2006. By 2008, we had groups in around 6 different countries. We had thousands of people join. And then in 2008, I had one live stream that was to change the name to Portal to Ascension, because the mind, it's not about the evolution of the mind anymore, that we're creating a portal. And as soon as I did that, there's been like 30, 40 new members every single day ever since to our groups. And I think the number one reason why it's still important is that when you wake up, you really can't go back to sleep. So what's happening is a lot more people are waking up, and they're sharing the truth with people. And once other people wake up to the truth, it's not like they can just pretend that it doesn't exist. And when they have kids, they want to share the truth with them too. So really, this is kind of like as we go into the new zodiac, Aquarius, the new energy that's going to take over the planet is that of being awakened. So it's just like when we went into the era of Pisces, Christianity came around, and that was the religion for that 2,000 years. And I think not the religion, because it's not organized religion, but the new belief that's going to come in this new age of Aquarius is that of self-empowerment, that of seeing the God within. So Portal to Ascension, like I sometimes I laugh at the fact that we're pretty big right now, and I'm saying like, well, I'm fairly young, like I'm obviously going to keep doing this, and I can't even imagine where we're going to be in 10 years from now if this is how big it's getting right now. And with the events we're doing, the ideas and the concepts we're coming up with, the people we're teaming up with, we're really making great packages and products for people that they want to be part of it, because we really pack everything with a lot of excitement and really beautiful energy.
Yes, definitely. You definitely do. Absolutely. And the people you work with are beautiful as well. So thank you for continuing that, and thank you for that. Miriam, the idea of ET disclosure, a lot of people try to simplify it. We have the exopolitics movement. We hear a lot about forcing the government to disclose, and then we have the other side where people are saying, well, disclosure is happening because so many of us are contactee, whether it be physical or transcendental or transdimensionally, like myself. So many of us are having disclosure by the ETs themselves. Can you tell us some of the nuances of the disclosure movement that maybe people aren't aware of, and why do we feel it's important for perhaps the government or other large, whether it be corporate entities, to come forth with this?
Well, I actually feel very strongly about this topic. I always have. I remember back years ago when I was discussing disclosure with someone who works, in this particular area, and we had a disagreement that disclosure was going to come from the people and it was not going to be coming from the government. And now, fast forward, almost 10 years later, and here we are. Disclosure is coming from, quote, the people. Now, I know that everyone says the government, the government, the government, but I actually disagree with the government coming forward and just blasting reality to the people. I'll probably get a lot of flack for that statement.
That's okay. We
Because,
all do.
yeah, because listen, I saw an extraterrestrial physically standing in front of me. They touched me, they took me by the hand. My reality was blown to bits, and it took me years and years and years for that to come back into a place of calm. And calm meaning your reality truly is shattered. Now, disclosure has to come from all directions. It will be primarily one-sided, meaning coming primarily from the people. But what does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean we're all going to turn around and say, "Yep, it's happening"? No, I don't see that as either. I actually understand that what we need to do is continue to, quote, spiritually awaken. Because
Hmm.
as we spiritually awaken to understand that there's the concept of interconnectedness and interdimensional realities that we are a part of, then we are prepared to be able to understand the concept of an extraterrestrial. And only after all of that process is done will we ever be able to have direct communication where we, pass one walking on the street and be okay with it. So if we really just stop our minds and say, really, are you going to sit here and think about this for a moment? How would you react? Every time I've said to people, when you see something that you have never seen before, you are going to go crazy. Oh, no, 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 I'm not going to do that. I'm prepared. No, they always go crazy.
Hmm.
And that's with just seeing a UFO from the distance.
Hmm.
Imagine seeing them face to face. So disclosure, the biggest obstacle that we have, in my view, is not that the government is not disclosing. The biggest obstacle that we have is the spiritual awakening of the people on the planet. That is the most difficult aspect of this.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a great observation, Miriam. Thank you. Um, Neil, in reference to disclosure, disinformation or propaganda, I have to point out, and I want to ask you what your thoughts are on this. That last week, um, uh, in New Hampshire, Hillary Clinton was interviewed, and she came out and said aliens might have visited Earth. She said we don't know for sure, but that she would like to dig deeper into the secret of Area 51. Uh, what are your thoughts of this? The timing of it? Is this a distraction? Is this disinformation? Is this a slap in the face to those of us that have had contact? Or could this be the beginning of subtlety with government or world leaders coming clean? What were your thoughts when you saw that?
Right. And I've been following the Hillary Clinton being the ET candidate for the last year because Steve Bassett sent an email out to his network saying that he said he sent around 3 different letters to Hillary Clinton over the last year and a half asking her to disclose the presence of extraterrestrials, telling her about the Rockefeller Initiative that Lawrence Rockefeller when he went up to Bill Clinton and tried to get Bill Clinton to be the ET candidate. So I personally feel that Hillary Clinton doesn't have the best interest of disclosing for the masses. I think she's kind of right now striving to stay on top of everything since Bernie Sanders is quickly taking over. And I personally feel she said that in order to put out a very extremely progressive view to capture a progressive audience that might be going towards Bernie Sanders in this moment. I feel exactly how Miriam Delicado feels, that that disclosure is not coming from the top down, and if there is anything that is being said from the top down, we do have, I think I tend to question it, because I do know that, well, I feel that the government in general is based on a patriarchal, wounded, masculine view of the world. And if there are higher dimensional entities out there that want to communicate with us, they probably would not choose to go through such a route where they're perceived a certain way, because we're looking at the world through patriarchy. We're not looking at it through unity consciousness. So what really needs to happen is that we need to continue the self-empowerment process. We need to raise our own personal vibration so that we can all make contact ourselves and start communicating on a mass level. And that's really going to be the way to disclosure. That the government, they're even, I don't know if you've been following, but for the last 6 months, almost every single month, they've had something about what they discovered on Mars, where they started with, they found running water, they found lake beds, and now they found bacteria in the water in Mars. So, and I've been following other speakers that have really talked about the secret space program and how that people have been sent to Mars and really colonized Mars. I feel that a lot of this is disinformation to disclose the presence of extraterrestrials through the way that they want to do it, not disclosing it in the way that we need it disclosed, which is the truth. That the government has been pumping out manipulations and lies for so long, and what's to make us think that now that they decide to say something about ETs that they're just going to completely disclose the truth? Because if they did disclose the truth, they're going to have to tell us that they've been lying to us for years, Roswell was true, and even furthermore, about our ancient history. Like, it's not just a modern thing, it's about our ancient history, our religions, and all the systems that we've created, where they came from, and what their extraterrestrial influence is. So these questions are going to come up. If the government just came out and disclosed everything, these are the questions that the masses will have, and I don't think they can maintain control when we come up with those questions. So the only way to really get disclosure out in the way that it should be is by doing what we're doing, all three of us here, talking to the people on the mass level.
Yes. Great answer, and a great perspective on that. Thank you, Neil. Miriam, what do you feel about Hillary's quote unquote lean toward disclosure?
I actually found it very interesting because my sister, I live with my sister, her family here, and she said to me, "Oh, did you see this?" And I said, "Of course I saw it already." So I had a little chuckle, and she said, "Well, what do you think of that?" You know, there has been an attempt at different points in time when people have been in trouble with the masses to get attention. Uh, I need to go back. I need to go back in history just a little bit to explain this. Years ago, there was a secret meeting. It was secret, that took place with the Vatican, and the Pope was inviting very top, high-level spiritual and ET-related people to the Vatican to have a private meeting. How I knew about this was that a very famous, well-known person was invited, and I was informed of that. And that person did not go because they didn't want to support it. Now, the reason that they were asked to go was because, and this is what I was told, was because apparently the Catholic Church was losing too many members, and they needed to come up with a strategy as to reach all of us, all of people like the four of us on this call, to bring them back to the church. So I found that fascinating. And then shortly thereafter, that statement came forward from the Catholic Church through that very high level. I'm not sure who he was. I think he was some type of a priest, but he was very high up in the Vatican Church. And he made the statement that something to the effect that if extraterrestrials do exist, they would be that they are still one of God's creatures. And so it was like saying, yes, it's okay, extraterrestrials are out there, but we still have to look at the church and God.
Mm-hmm.
So when I heard that Hillary Clinton had done this, what I hear is, and this is the crux. What I hear is we are gaining momentum, and it's like saying we have buying power. You know, a group has buying power. Well, we have voting power.
Mm-hmm.
And to make a statement like that encompasses many different groups. It encompasses UFO sightings people, contactees, abductees, uh, the conspiracy theorists, the historians. It encompasses many things. It encompasses traditional people, encompassing. So when making a statement like that has the potential to reach a very large mass audience that is we're almost hyper aware of what's truly going on in the world in different ways. And we all have different approaches. But it means that we are gaining momentum, or else she never would have made a comment like that. And that tells me that the planet is moving forward. And also, I just watched a little clip on some talk show of Bill Clinton, and he made a comment about the disclosure of extraterrestrials. And actually, I think it was word for word what the other president did on the podium. I don't know which one it is. I'm sure that one of you would know that. But it was word for word the same. And so they are actually releasing information, and they are testing the waters to see what will happen and how to do it. That's my opinion. But I wouldn't listen to them either. Actually, I wouldn't listen to some really big names in the community either, because I think that they're falsely misleading people.
Thank you for saying that, Miriam. One of my greatest concerns is the disinformation movement that seems to be happening. And we're coming up on a break, but I just wanted to put this out there. The disinformation, especially within the truth movement, within the conspiracy movement, of so many people believing that aliens are going to kill us, and or this idea of Project Bluebeam, where there's going to be this fake alien invasion in order for the government to take over and create a martial law or whatnot. Uh, Ever so quickly, we have about 2 minutes left on this side of the show. What are your thoughts on that, Neil?
I think that that was a possibility at one point, that there was maybe a false flag in order to unite the whole world into one government and the whole New World Order conspiracy route. But I feel that we've shifted out from that reality, and at this point, that no matter what happens, the humanity is going to ascend, and we're going to ascend to a level where we don't have to live out a new paradigm that's going to be based on control and manipulation.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Absolutely. We've only got about 1 minute left on this. So, Neil, tell us the name of the conference that you've put together that's coming up in just a couple of weeks with Miriam and so many other people. And where can people sign up to attend? Oh, well, we'll do that after the break. Boy, I guess we came in a little sooner. We'll be right back. And Neil.
And now, back to your host, Bernard Alvarez.
Welcome back to the justBernard Show here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. For those of you that don't know, Revolution Radio is strictly funded by you. So if you are listening to us live on freedomslips.com, please take a moment to make a donation. As well as, you know, this is one of many projects that I do, everything from online classes to other websites, videos, etc. If you are on bernardalvarez.com as well, please make a donation. A large portion of how my work gets funded is through the public support. So thank you, and please donate if you can. With that being said, Neil, before the break, I had asked you a bit about the conference. Tell us when it is and how can people get in there, and who's going to be there.
Okay. So firstly, the name is Extraterrestrial Disclosure Online Conference. And the reason why we didn't use the commonly known term that people use in this movement, UFO Disclosure Online Conference, is that we're really making this a full circle awareness kind of event where we have the linear aspects, the scientific aspects, we have the documentation, and then we have the spirituality of it all. So I feel with the word UFO just is very much about not knowing, and maybe it's this, and something that's really accepted in the linear field of ufology. But extraterrestrial disclosure, the reason we chose that name because there's no sugarcoating this anymore. We're just getting straight to the point, and we're talking about what it is. It's extraterrestrial disclosure, and on the physical level, that means these beings from other dimensions, other realities, higher dimensional entities, angels, whatever you call it. So Extraterrestrial Disclosure Online Conference is going to be on January 14th, 15th, and 16th, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of this month, so in just about a week and a half from now. You can get tickets for all 3 days on our website, portaltoascension.org, or you can just get a ticket for 1 day if you really just prefer to see a few speakers, or you don't have time for the entire event. You can buy a ticket for 1 day. And also, once you buy a ticket, you have unlimited replay access to the entire event. So if you aren't even able to attend that day, you can go ahead and register. And then when the event's over, within 24 hours, we'll send you a link, and it'll give you all the videos for the webinar, and you can attend it and watch it at your own leisure.
Oh, that's great. Wonderful, wonderful. And you have, geez, a dozen speakers, if not more. I don't know
Yeah,
if we could go
16
into
speakers.
their specialty, but tell us a little bit. And actually, let me jump in here, and maybe you have some comment on this as well. One of your speakers is Laura Eisenhower, and she had spoken a bit
Mm-hmm.
about the Mars projects that are going on.
Yes. So she's actually not going to be speaking about Mars in specifically at this event.
Right.
She's going to be talking about artificial intelligence, extraterrestrial disclosure, and positive timeline. So basically, what we were talking about before the break about how we're shifting from constructs that have been put into this world, and we're creating a new world where we're going to have ET disclosure from a higher vibratory stance. So that's going to be her main topic, and we will have her back at another workshop when she does a solo workshop where she'll talk more about Mars. And basically, she was recruited to go to Mars, and she turned it down. And it was this whole ordeal that she went through. She went through a lot of struggle and suffering in order to basically break free from this and be able to become a truther and tell the world about the truth of what's going on with the secret space program. So that's another really amazing topic that we're going to be discussing at a future date.
Oh, that sounds great. I have a very interesting anecdote about that. I was speaking to Laura, I guess last year, and she was telling me about that. And I asked her a little bit more about it. And it's very funny because the synchronicity of it. I had gone to this pagan gathering here in Virginia called the Blue Ridge Beltane Gathering. She said, "Oh my God, that's where they got me." She goes, "I was there,
Huh.
and the guy found me, pulled me aside, and I had met him there, and that's where it all started." I was like, "Oh my
Wow.
gosh." So the dates are the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th?
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
15, 16,
wonderful.
17.
Great, great.
So let me add to that.
Yes.
What we're really trying to do is, so this year, I've been planning this specific event for 2 years. I've been like, I want to have this event done, and just through things that came up in my life and never manifested, and then I got busy, and then I had to work a full-time job just to survive. So it just kept being pushed back on the back burner. So this is finally coming to fruition. It's been being created for 2 years. I've sought out speakers for 2 years. So we're not just doing this lightly. These are people that that I have investigated into. I've researched their stuff and been following some of them for many, many years. I've checked in and verified with other people to see how credible these people are. So this is a very powerful, very intentional event, and it's just the beginning. We're going to do the Extraterrestrial Disclosure Online Conference twice a year, every 6 months. And every time we do it, we're going to add a date to it, because our intention is to truly be the most fully encompassing ET disclosure event of all time. And we don't want to just tell people that there are ETs out there. We want to provide tools to empower ourselves. So some of these speakers moving forward aren't just going to talk about ETs. They might be talking about tools on how to raise your vibration. So I want to throw that out there, that it's a very full circle event, that we're going to give you guys tools to make your own contact in your own life.
Oh, that's great. And you have one of my other favorite guests that come on the show, Brian Forster. Is he going to be talking about the ancient alien connection, or he kind of dabbles, but he never really says anything? What's his talk going to be about? Do you know?
Yes, I'm extremely excited about his talk, because he created a new presentation that I guess he just finished, that he's going to be releasing at our event. And he has this whole one about the elongated skulls from Peru, but he has a new presentation now with elongated skulls from all over the world. And since this is a global event, it's really perfect for it, because he's going to talk about the same kind of skulls and that are found all over the world, and kind of draw the connection to our ancient origins and the ancient alien connection.
Oh, that's going to be fascinating, I'm sure. Definitely.
Definitely.
Wonderful. And Miriam, I'm sure you're friends with many of the people on the panel, or at least you know of their work. Who is maybe one of your favorite people that you're looking forward to seeing beside yourself?
Well, I have to say that I don't. People don't realize I'm not jumping around from conference to conference, and I'm actually very selective about what I involve myself with. And I'm part of the Extraterrestrial Disclosure Online 3-day summit. That's what that's what this is. I'm a part of it because I'm really impressed with this panel, and I think that there's some really big names here. I don't think I can pick just one. Grant Cameron is someone who I highly honor and respect. I think that James Gilliland has been doing amazing work. We have Dr. Lynn, I don't know how to say her last name. Katai. Dr. Lynn Katai is someone that I just truly just love. Her work with the Phoenix Lights is fantastic. Of course, we went through Brian Foster. Laura Eisenhower, top notch. She has such a big heart and is really an incredible story. Sherry Wilde, of course, as a person who's had some really interesting things happen. William Henry, Nick Pope. There's more that are here. I can't pick one. I have to say, if I had to pick one, I would pick Neil Gaur and his team for putting together such a top-notch panel. And here's the thing, is that within the UFO disclosure, contactee, extraterrestrial movement, there's such a wide variety of genres that we have a choice of looking at. And I think that the Portal to Ascension team has done an exceptional job here of putting together very clear and concise storytellers and that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about fantasy stories. We're talking about reality and what's real. Storytellers, people that are able to bring forward one of the most complex subjects on Earth today and bring it forward in a way that is clear and concise and understandable for the general public. So I do really hope that people will come out to this event and will take the time to listen and re-listen, as you said, on the program after it's done. So I know that, Neil, you have to leave in a moment. So I'm going to pass this back to you again.
Yes, Neil, actually, before you go, I was wondering if you could tell us if you had a message for everyone in the world. Let's say everybody in the world is listening right now. What would be your disclosure message, and what are your hopes that people are going to get out of this conference?
Yes, I would say my message is no holding back, that it's time to be your most authentic version of yourself more than ever before. That if you feel that something is true and maybe that it can benefit someone's life, you don't need to put your belief on them and try to push it on them, but share this awareness. Because if you ask most people if they would like to know if ETs exist and they're real and they're visiting our planet, I think most people will probably say yes. So I'm saying go out there and share this information. We're actually going to start taking this to the streets. We're going to be going to Venice Beach, filming people and asking them, do they believe aliens exist, and create viral movies on this information and do SEO so we have it as ranking high on the internet and really get it out to the masses. My message is no holding back. Be the most authentic version of yourself, and let's do this.
That sounds great. And Neil, are you going to be speaking at all or presenting anything yourself?
No, not this time around.
Okay.
I'm actually working on my first ever presentation, which I'll just throw out there really quick. It's going to be called Sound Frequencies and ET Connection. I'll be doing my own webinar on that maybe in a few months from now.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Neil, I know it's time for you to go. I want to thank you so much for being here and joining us, and good luck for everything in this conference and everything with the Portal to Ascension. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate you, man.
All
Take care of
right.
yourself.
Take care.
Okay,
now.
bye, Miriam. Bye-bye.
Well, what a great show we're having today. I'm loving this, and I love the fact that so many of us can get together and do this type of work. With that being said, Miriam, you had mentioned something to the effect of, well, for lack of a better term, and this is a term that you and I both use, coming from the heart. Why do you feel this is so important right now, that the work and the information that is being presented, whether it be in disclosure or whether it be in the awakening movement, how important is this to humanity?
Well, the reality is that we are never open to anything until we open our heart. And we, you know, if you have an insanely crazy person, mad, angry person standing in front of you for whatever reason, you can't speak to them about anything unless they calm themselves and then they center their hearts. So in the disclosure movement and in the movement that we're in, it really is about coming into a place of calm and coming into a place of the heart that is, and the heart is spiritual. You know, sorry, there's just, my mind is going a million miles a minute because it's such an important question, actually.
Yeah.
I recently did a seminar, and in the seminar I talked about a motto that I've had since I was a very, very young child. And I remember being 8, 9 years old, walking home from school with my friends. I remember this so clearly because it was my mantra. And I would say, follow your heart. And people would say, oh, well, you can follow your heart. And then as the spiritual movement, disclosure movement, movements all over the world, I would share this message, follow your heart. And I followed my heart and it fell apart. But here's the catch. Following your heart means following a moral heart. It's about morality. It's about whether it's right or wrong. Things are right or wrong. That's the heart. And that's what we need to open, is to have morality come back into balance on our planet, which is very difficult right now.
Yeah.
But the spiritual heart is a moral heart. And the other part of our hearts, when we think we're following something that is not moral, becomes the ego. So we're talking about opening up spiritually to be able to encompass more of who we are as an interconnected, multidimensional being. And the only way that is possible is through your heart. And that's what type of heart I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We have to take responsibility for ourselves, for humanity, for the life that we have, for the planet. And that's what the heart really is. It's about opening all of that up. It's not about falling in love. It's about having compassion. It's about having openness to hear what other people's thoughts are, and to allow for time for dialogue on important issues. And that's the heart that we need to be opening. And in the disclosure movement, when we talk about disclosure of any kind, of anything, there has to be an education process before something is fully disclosed. That is disclosure.
Yeah.
And that is what we are doing here today. That is what all of us have dedicated our lives to do, is to slowly and very passionately and very caring and lovingly share what we see, what we think, what we know.
Yes.
That is disclosure.
And with that being said, you and I have spoken in the past, and I speak about this on the radio show quite a bit. How as we are ascending into our higher consciousness on this planet, and within all of these movements, I can't help but see a division beginning to happen of those who are moving toward the heart-centered work and those who are clinging, for lack of a better term, to the old paradigm, whether it be through greed, whether it be through bullying tactics, whether it be through disinformation. And I wonder if there are some pointers, perhaps, that you could share with us on because there's so much confusion around disclosure there, and there's so much it's so easy to just throw it off. The layperson could throw it off and say, oh, they're all crazy, none of it's real. What are some pointers perhaps that people could look out for to see the integrity of those who are trying to get the information, how to identify genuine well-intended work that's being done?
There is actually something that they can look for right away, and that is consistency. Consistency. There are many people within this movement that constantly change their story. They change their story, they change their position, they change their focus, they change what they're sharing. And I can think of a half a dozen people off the top of my head who I would never trust because they're constantly changing the story. They came out in 2012, they said this and that, then after 2012 they changed the story. That's, this is consistency or
Right.
lack thereof.
And we saw a lot of that around 2012, actually.
We've done some shows about that together.
Yes.
Absolutely. So that's one thing. Even within the disclosure movement, we have to look for the consistency. Now, this doesn't mean that the learning process can't continue to grow. What that means is that if someone says aliens exist, in Roanoke, where you are, and then the next time they say, nope, they don't exist. What are you talking about? That's an inconsistency. But if they were to say, look, I said that that they existed there, and there has been more information revealed to really bring about more clarity to this, and we now realize that there's no extraterrestrials there.
Right.
That's consistency, because their story. There are so many people that change the story, that don't give the clarity, and that bounce people around, and that is what I'm against. And in fact, I'm so concerned about the inconsistencies of the community that I have been known to pick up the phone and contact people and say, how dare you try to represent this community with a level of unprofessionalism, swearing on radio programs, cursing, making the community look like a bunch of crazy people.
Right.
And I've been known to do things like that. And so we have to have rational conversations, even if we don't agree. We need to be respectful. And I think that's really the message, is that if people are not being consistent, don't listen to them. If they are in service to others, then there's more of a chance that they are authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people that are only focused on themselves and only selling what they have and only doing something, we have to look for people who are in service to others, who are truly coming from that place from the heart. It's important. And in the subject of disclosure, with all of the researchers, because I'm always talking about those people,
Mm-hmm.
love some of them, dislike others.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the researchers out there, we need to be very careful when we look at the work that researchers are doing, because it's valuable and it's necessary. But the researchers are not on the front lines. They're not the contactees, the abductees, and the people who are having the experiences. So it's a fine balance. And I would just say, whatever feels right, follow it, and what doesn't, don't, because that's talking about the spiritual and the true heart. Your heart will guide you. Just don't go after it for the sense of ego.
Ah, very good. And we've only got about 1 minute left. I have one last question for you, Miriam. For those of us out there listening who are not a part of any movement and not a part of any organization, but have had contact and want to disclose, how would they go about disclosing their own experiences? Would you recommend having them contact you, recommend contacting an organization, or putting up a blog and talking about it? What would be a good way to come out and disclose?
I think initially people need to disclose to their the people around them. That's the first level. Second level is that if they want to come forward to the public, to do it on their own terms. Going to an organization doesn't always help. And there's my phone call. Going to an organization doesn't always help the situation, and if they're not comfortable in doing that, they shouldn't. They should just do it on their own. But if they want to be with a group of people, going to an organization is definitely helpful. But be careful. I would say to be careful. Hello?
You can go ahead and pick up your call if you need to. We're going to wrap up the show now if you'd like.
Oh, I've let it go.
Okay.
I figured we had a minute left. I would like to share, though, that if people are interested in my work, that they check me out at bluestarprophecy.com. And there's just so much information that I'm releasing to people there, and I hope that they come to the event, the disclosure event, which is also on my website, bluestarprophecy.com, or Portal to Ascension for the upcoming conference, 15th, 16th, and 17th of January. And again, Bernard Alvarez, thank you for your time. And Treva, I appreciate the show today.
Well, thank you, Miriam. We love you very much. And thank you, everyone. Join us next week. We're going to have Paul Burley speaking of his discoveries at Stonehenge, another great speaker. Have a wonderful